Everyone, good morning. How are we doing today? Let me know if you can hear my mic. I don't have it right in front of my face, just so the camera can actually adjust to my face and not the microphone, but it still looks like it's going to try and adjust to the mic. Guys, how are we doing this fine, lovely Saturday morning? It is freezing outside. Oh my word. Like, my car was iced over this morning when I went to go get some coffee. Oh, it's nice to be back indoors. Nice to be looking at my monitor. This week has been just insane for work because the holidays are going up and I've been working like 10 plus hour shifts and it's like, oh my god, I have no time to do anything. um but first of all, OFC, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub. I truly appreciate it. Welcome to the Cloudies. um Today, obviously, I told everyone on my Discord channel what my intention was for the future of this. I do, a part of me, I feel a little bad, but I do have to think of this as a stream, and I need to try and do a little better for my stream. Watch the all done with Horncrab and learn that I had a free sub sitting there for you, dude. Thank you. Wranglefleur, good morning. But yeah, so I really do have to think about my stream. Obviously, this is just kind of like a for fun thing until I can dedicate more time to it out of school, out of work, and all that stuff. So for right now, I do have to think of this as my own thing and not just a hobby anymore. If I really want to start streaming, and this has been kind of in the back of my mind for a while. I've been talking on and off with people, and I do think that it is time for at least me to step away from streaming Lightseekers. And there's a lot of reasons that have compiled and led to this decision. And I think this last patch note really kind of helped seal the deal. When we had talked with Benny, when Benny came on the show and we had that 3-hour interview, that was amazing. That was great to have, great to do for you guys as a community and for me as a streamer. And we talked about it. We talked about getting lore for really like building a player base, getting stuff out there for people to read and then come in. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. But what they decided to do with the lore is, in my opinion, not at all going to help build a player base. Lore is meant to be read for free and then have people go, wow, I'm really interested in this story. I wonder what the game is like, and have them be pulled in. The way they did the lore, and as you all know because you all played the game, they have lore pages to unlock in the game after you play. So that's really only an investment for the people who are already invested in the game. That is not how lore is supposed to be. A lot of video games I know right now, they put their lore pretty much free on the website so you can understand the game before you dive in. You can understand the concepts, you can understand the races, all this stuff before you dive in. It's what Lightseekers had been doing before. They put out a bunch of lore stories on their website. You could read them for free. There was nothing to it. Now you have to unlock them with chests, complete certain campaign modes to unlock like the actual lore behind the story that they should have put out for free. And to me, I'm like, well, that's not going to build a player base. Sorry, my eye is itchy. It's, Saturday morning. That's not going to build a player base. That is not going to pull people in to have them be invested in something that you literally need to invest your time into, then get the lore payoff. That's just one of the many reasons. So I'm not really happy with the way they did lore pages. It's kind of like mini achievements that you can unlock and then read, and it's like, no, that all this should be free online. Because here's the thing, they made it so that you have to mini unlock and achieve. All it takes is one person to unlock them, put out a YouTube video of them, and then no one cares to unlock them anymore. Everyone will start checking out that one person's YouTube video, and that guy will get more hits than actually Play Fusion will. That's the thing. Like, all you have to do is give this one person, like, have him unlock them all and then make stories about him, and then you just do that. It's that. That's one of the things. And as Bud's saying, the constant, and I mean constant, card changes. When Uprising came out, I was the first to say, and I probably the only one saying, guys, it feels like we're out of the beta phase. It feels like we finally have a game here. All these cards are being changed. We got 400 plus erratas. All this, like, the game is finally coming to fruition. Right? It was finally coming to a head. We were starting to get a game. Then they started continuously making more card changes. And to me, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. Card changes should come either like right before the next expansion, because it's like, hey, this card is gonna be needed to be changed for future cards. So when it does come out, this needs to be changed to this, so there's not a huge like dilemma in the card pool, something like that. But it feels like almost every other week they're making minor card changes still, which means that the game is falling back into the beta phase where there still needs to be card changes made because people are complaining about how overpowered some cards are or some card interactions that we're finding, like, oh, we just didn't see that. Yeah, more sets, good one, 3 years later, right? Feels like that, OFC. But like that's when erratas should hit. Is like right before new sets, like, hey, we need to change this card because there's a card coming out in the future that, combined with the way this card previously was, is just insane value, right? That's just insane value. That's when those erratas need to be there. If people are complaining about cards being too good, guys, here's just a throw out for you. There's a reason cards have rarities, because good cards should be in the rare slot, and it should take a while for you to unlock them. If you're complaining, and I know there is no like mana base to put behind this. Did my cat just live? No, he didn't. Or she didn't. Wow, I called him a he. Whoops. My girlfriend's cat. Print solutions instead of erratas. Yes. And where was I? My cat derailed my train of thought. I'm so sorry. That's like when you should put out erratas or changes, is because they present a problem in the future. And there's no mana resource in this game. It's all action-based resources, right? So everyone is saying, wow, this card's way too good. And everyone's like, well, this card's underused. They don't really balance out. They need to be even. It's like, well, no. They don't need to be even. Yes, they all cost one action, but they should not all be even. And I think someone even made a joke. I think someone even made a joke. Let's just make every card deal 5 damage and every healing deal 5 healing. That's the change we all need, so that every card is equal. No one can complain about anything. We're good to go. Like, there should be a reason some cards are probably better than others because of the rarity. It's like, hey, this is a common card, pretty easy for starter people. If you really want to progress in the game, here's a later game card that you can spend your shards on and invest and get those better stuff. Yeah, Flame Fist Umbron got changed, so when you use the action, you have to rotate it out. Could you stop meowing into my mic? That'd be much appreciative. That'd be very nice. And that was the change. Spectral Widow got a change from 1, 2, 3, probably because a lot of people were upset that you could put Spectral Widow in during the buff phase and have it trigger twice. So they made the first corner weaker. They did a whole bunch of changes in erratas to these cards, and I know now I'm just being blown up by a cat. So I hope this is really what you wanted to come here and watch, is this amazing, glorious, floofy black cat. She's so pretty. Sora drew 4 cards, change it. I mean, there are so many things that people would complain about and talk about card change, and then they just go ahead and change them. Like, okay, well, let's see if this card change works, or if this card change works. And this, when Longfuse Bomber mimicking Horror does 22 or Cannon change, yeah, right, just change every card. But like, this is why every game, I don't care how small of a company, every game needs beta testers. Because you should not be having this many card erratas. This many card erratas tells me that you guys are in constant flux there at the company. Tells me that making the card game, it's not coming out the way you imagined it, which means that obviously you imagine it one way and every other player is going to see it some other way and build some crazy interaction that you just didn't foresee. And so in the back of your mind, like, oh god, that's not fair, got to change it. And the reality is, guys, no, that's meant to happen. If someone found it, that's how your game was meant to work. You built it the way you wanted it to. Someone else found a different way to make it work with it. Don't change it. Like, there's reasons that a company will come out with a design for, like, that's why I've really been doing this, is trying to build, like, those family-oriented, like, hey, the insects, really good at self-mill. Robots, really good at, self-sacrifice, all this stuff. You built them the way the archetype is supposed to fit. And as players, we take the card pool and we build a play that we want to play with. Not like, hey, he built something really cool. Oh, but it's winning like 5% more than that. Let's change some card numbers around so it evens us out. There's no way you're going to get that. There's no way you're going to get that. Especially in a card game. You guys need to stop focusing on erratas and start focusing on making new cards. Making new cards. Not card changes, but card solutions. make new cards rather than changing cards. And in my opinion, in my very strong opinion, entirely the rotation system that they're doing for this game. And I openly said it that I wasn't a fan of how the rotation system was, where every 2 months they're like cycling through all of their sets. That, in my opinion, is just a really bad idea, because all you're going to end up doing is having all these sets continuously rotate. And yes, you're like, yeah, I want all the players, especially the older players, to be able to come in with their card collections that they've acquired and play. That's great. But what about the new players that you're trying to build? This game still needs a player base. This game still needs a player base, because right now I'm not seeing it when I log into the app. I'm not seeing the player base there. Everyone is in casual because they want to use the older cards. Build a player base for the newer cards. Set the old cards aside. Put them in casual. Put them in whatever you want to do. Have them for just wild format. In the new format, for players to start jumping in, give them just the new sets, and then make new sets that rotate out the old sets, like every other card game out there does. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel here. And in order to do that, because you're doing that, because you're making new cards and rotating out old cards, you don't need to then go back and make so many erratas to the old cards so they interact well with the new cards. Because those new cards should never be seen with the old cards unless it's in a wild format where you can break the game all you want and come up with 1,000 damage on turn 2. That's where the wild format belongs. So the reason that their whole rotation with like, every 2 months we're cycling back the old cards to mix it with the new cards and all this stuff, that's only going to present so many more opportunities for them to be like, this card's coming back and interacting with this. We didn't see it before. We need to make an errata. Oh, this card's coming in now from, set 2 interacting with set 7. We got to make an errata before that actually happens. No, that's only going to make you want to make more erratas, and that's terrible and unhealthy for the game. We were having tournaments at the OLL. Everyone was getting excited. And I think just during the span of the 3 or 4 month tournament, so many cards got errated, changed. Heroes got changed entirely different. New cards came out in mid-tournament set. The whole tournament had to be delayed several times because of it, because people had to remake decks that they were submitted to. And that's just insane to me that you would have something like that. And I know, like, you're not actually doing the tournaments and stuff. You're not actually doing this yourself. It's being run by the community, which just... the fact that the community's running your tournaments instead of you guys... There's a sign. 3 times, yeah. Yeah, 3 times that they had to pause the tournament so that they could adjust the erratas, rebuild their decks, and all this stuff. It's insane. It's insane that you're making so many card changes that a community tournament like this can't really move forward and progress as a normal pace. People are going to be like, wow, so many card changes. All right, I'm done. I can't invest in a non-stable game like this. You guys need to calm down. You need to fix your rotation set problem by building new sets and having the old sets just stay gone. Just stay gone. If you want to build a core set that comes in, which you already have, awesome. In the future, if you want to bring some old cards back, like into the core set, be like, hey, I think Hearthstone's doing it right now. Hearthstone brought back 20 old cards. Put them into the new set as a promotional thing. If you guys want to do that eventually, that's awesome. That's a great way to reuse your old content and bring it into a new light in the future in an actual ranked mode for events rather than having 2 months every cycle out. Because, and I will say this, for a card game, and I think I've said this right in the beginning, for a card game, it is healthy and wise that about every 3 to 4 months, a new set is released. You need to give us new content with this card game, otherwise the game is going to feel stale. And if they're going to try and underplay it by saying, well, every 2 months we're going to rotate out new cards, we're going to change the meta up like that, no, I'm not going to fall for that. I've played too many card games to realize that just cycling through sets does not make the game fresh. If I wanted to build wild, janky decks like this, I would go into casual and I would limit myself to my own restrictions. I don't need you to do that for me. I can do that all on my own. I need new content. I need new sets. I need new cards to play with. I need the old cards to leave forever. I don't want them coming back in 2 months. I need them to stay gone. I need them to stay gone. The reason, Lightseekers Cecilia, the reason she was actually doing really well with her organized play at her community is because she was doing physical format. And the thing about the physical format is right now, physical is in a much better spot than digital, and I'll tell you why. A, you can't errata cards on physical. You've tried, but now you're going physically purely digital. You can't errata. So I haven't been reading chat for a little bit. I'm ranting. I do apologize. I'll come back to that. You can't errata physical cards. You have to reprint them. So the physical cards are stable. You read them, you know what the card does. You're not going to be surprised in a week when it changes different values on the card. The card is as is. And because of that stability, what she has been amazingly able to do is create new gaming formats. Set up a double-headed tournament, 2 versus 2. Set up a popper tournament where you only common cards. Set up like a multiplayer tournament. Set up a draft format. Because your cards are stable. Because none of them are changing, because the values are there, no erratas are going on, nothing. The cards are stable, means that you can go forward with making the game, playing it how you want to play it. Right now they are fixing way too many cards and changing way too many cards that no one has a stable sense of what's actually happening in the game, what's going on in the game, for you to then want to experiment. Because every time you experiment and find something, a week later there could be a card change that ruins the whole thing. Like, well, that's not good anymore, I got to start over. And there's not going to be a whole lot of players invested in wanting to start over, building decks, all this stuff, every 3 weeks because of all the card changes. You can't do that. You just can't do that. Access, good morning. Okay, let me go back and read some stuff here. There's always a downside to a combo deck. Your weakness. Tournament's always been legacy because we want to use everything. Yeah, and oh my god, don't even get me started on the bugs. Do not even get me started on the bugs. I have never seen a game that has several bugs being found, at least 2, almost a day. Almost a day. Whether it's card interactions not working, whether it's values not properly being input, all this stuff for card changes. You guys have been finding bugs every day, and it's the players who've been finding them. This goes back to why you need beta testers. You need beta testers to find these bugs, because if you put out a product that has this many bugs and players are finding them, and you're like, okay, I'll change that. Okay, I'll add it to the list. Okay, I should have changed it. Okay, it's been changed. I'll hunt that down and I'll change it. You guys shouldn't have to do that. If you guys are fixing bugs, if you guys are constantly fixing bugs and fixing your game, that means that's taking away time for you to then improve it, put new cards out, build a better set, put out lore, and actually progress further. If you guys are constantly taking one step forward, one step back, fixing bugs, you're never going to move forward. The game is never going to move forward because you're never going to have that time to put quality effort into the future of your game if you're trying to fix the present so many times over. It's normally buggy games die right away. Exactly. And the thing is that this game hasn't necessarily died right away. It just hasn't grown the player base. I have not seen a new player in the Discord in months. It's been the same people talking about the same stuff, fixing the same bugs, playing the game. No one has been able to really jump in and play this or be invested in this with so many bugs, so many card changes. It's ridiculous. And now this latest bug, half their platforms don't even work with the cards you scanned in, with the people who have invested in their cards. And you want the set rotation to go for people who have bought the cards in the past to use those cards, so that's why you're doing a set rotation. And now there's a bug that comes out that you can't fix right away, that makes it so those people who actually have spent physical money on physical cards can't even use them. It's just, I don't even understand it. I don't know how that one got missed. Commander style single copy. Sadly, the fact that it has lasted shows the game is great. No, it is. The game is good. I'm not saying like the game is terrible. The game is great. The game is good. It has several really cool mechanics in it. The interactions, some of the cards are great. It's how really unstable and in flux the game is right now that makes me want to sit here and go, I'm gonna sit back and wait till they fix all this stuff. I'm not gonna I'm not going to sit here and try to invest time, invest money into something that is going to be changed in like a day, changed in a week. I'm going to wait for it to be stable before I actually jump on that ship. You don't jump on a boat that has holes in it that people are dishing out water and be like, yeah, I think I'll invest in this boat ride. No. No. You want to jump into a boat that is pristine looking, is floating, has been known to make several good voyages, all this stuff. All this stuff. That's the only time you should actually get on that boat. After the crew and everyone has made it safe to play, safe to travel out, that's what you need to do. Oh, no. I understand that. I understand that. Titanic, bro. Yep. You're right. 107 years? Too soon. But that's the thing. That's the thing. There's so many card changes going on. There's so many bugs constantly being found. And by constantly, I mean like every other day there's bugs being found and had to be fixed. With the friends list being bugged, with card numbers not doing their correct value, with card interactions rotating improperly, with burn being missed on some of the card coding processes and stuff like that. There, all this stuff that just the game is not in a stable place for me as a streamer to say that I'm going to stay here and commit to this game that, for all I know, is going to be changed in 24 hours in some way or another. The only reason a card game should change is when you add new cards to it. The only change I want is new content. Not erratas, new content. That is the only way to keep moving forward. The lore. You guys put out several good lore pages. I have not read any of them because I have to unlock them. I want all of my lore to be free so I can read it on my downtime, be invested in the game for free, and be like, yeah, man, the Mari, I really enjoyed the story they come up with of how they like had to battle the Noxen in some sort of war or something like that, or how this one guy interacted with the Noxen. I have an idea now. If that story is true, I want to see if they put any information of that story into the card game. Does this card work well with Dread? Can I intermingle Storm with Dread in some way that the story kind of led me to believe to make some sort of interaction there? I want to see if I can make a thematic deck based on a lore that I read online for free. That's how you're going to get me into the game, is all this free stuff that I can read on my own time before I jump into your game. I don't want to go, I have no idea what's about this game. I want to jump in, I want to play it to unlock and read about the game. No. The way you do that, I don't know a single person or a single game that's like, yeah, wait, we published this novel on the backstory of the game. Like, oh, can I get it? Yeah, you got to play the game first, unlock several achievements, spend a few dollars, then I'll give you the book. And it's like, well, I just wanted the book to read so that I could learn about the game before I play it. And I'll play the game first. Do a certain mission a certain way, unlock it in a random chest. And I'll give you the book to read. It's like, oh, I'm okay. Because it only, like I said, it only helps people who are already invested in the game to then invest with the lore. Get them the lore. Give the lore to the people. Give the stories to the people for them to read while they're sitting on their couch, while they're at work on a 30-minute break or a 15-minute break. Give them the short stories to cycle through on their phone. Have them read content. And then be like, wow, this is actually really cool. It sparked an idea. I wonder if I can do this with these cards. Hey, this story was really cool with this hero. I really want to try and build a deck with this hero. The story inspired me to play something thematic. That would be awesome. Do that. Give the lore to the people. A heads up. Hey, update coming up with card changes in a couple weeks would be nice. Then could have planned to get the league games done. Also, lore. Amount of gems. I want the company to make money, but I need a whole set of lore unlocked, bits and pieces like I have now. Yeah, that's another thing, OFC, because like if you unlock them in the wrong order, you unlock the middle part of the story, and it's like, well, okay, I have the middle, but I don't have the establishing beginning where I know the characters, and I don't know where to start. And all of a sudden, it's like you start reading the story, like, yeah, as the Noxen charged into the battle, it's like, what caused the battle? Why are they running into this? I don't know what's happening. Nothing like that. Oh yeah, Umbron House did amazing stuff with their lore. Umbron House did amazing videos. Um, I'm really just going through the update list of what is all being changed within this path thing. But that's like that's my deal. That's my reasoning for why until the game becomes more stable, until the game becomes more pro dominant and trying to move forward and not fix things so constantly and so consistently almost. Until that happens, I am going to be done streaming Lightseekers. I will still play it occasionally on my own time. It's something that I will do on my own time. But for streaming, I can't, like I did last week. I sat here trying to get into a game for like 5 minutes. I can't sit here on a stream for 5 minutes. That's going to kill my stream. I need to play a game where the players are there and the games will go. They already have multi-queue. They add multi-queuing, which was great. So now I can queue for draft. Now I can queue for standard. Now I can queue for anything that I want and still wait in those queues. But if they're adding a multi-queue because all of the queues are 5+ minutes, multi-queuing doesn't solve that problem. Building the player base solves that problem. Find a way to build your player base up. Find a way to make it so that not every 2 months the game will need to be changed because of cards either being errated or a new card set being rotated out to rotate in. I was really not a fan of the cyclical rotation that they presented. I was open about that. I said I didn't like it because it literally made it so that if you're trying to be a new player in this, if you're trying to invest in a new player, like, hey, yeah, you want to come into the new player? Awesome. Here's the sets that we're playing with. Okay, really cool. When's the new set come out? Oh, they haven't launched one. But next month, they're rotating, so you're going to want to buy the old sets. And they're like, well, I just wanted to start and be competitive in this scene and be a new player. No, we get that. But in a set, old sets will come back, and you'll have to get those cards. Then in 2 months, another old set will come out, and some of the cards that you already just got, the cards you just unlocked, they'll rotate out. You got to get the old cards again. So eventually, you'll need the entire card pool base of the entire game. And they're like, well, the game has been out for how many years that I just want to get the new cards. I just want to be an investor in the game now. I like the game, but I don't want to pride on getting old cards. I just want to get the new cards so I can play ranked, be competitive. Awesome. That'll last you for 2 months, and then you have to get old cards. How can you be a brand new competitive player? How can you build a player base of competitive players that legitimately you say, hey, yeah, the game's been out for 2.5 years. The only way to play competitively is if you get the entire card pool, old and new cards. That way, if there's ever a change, or if a card comes back, you have the card. If not, well, the people who've already been invested for 2 years have so much leg up on you, you'll never succeed in competitive right away. Sorry. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand. Let's talk about the Widow. I usually removed Widow when it's played because I know how good it is. 4 damage is still sneaky. Casual players, how dare you try to be competitive? I mean, yeah, there's so much to say. Casual advanced, I don't know why. I don't know why they wanted casual advanced. The player base is not there. Play ranked. I know. Okay, here's the thing. No one wants to jump into ranked because I know how it feels when you lose in an actual ranked match and you start losing ratings. Like, oh, it makes me feel bad. All I want to do is win and climb the ladder. If I lose the ladder, I don't know. And there's people like, well, I want to test out a deck before I actually bring it into a competitive scene. Awesome. I like that thought. That's a really good thought. But the player base is not there. The cards are constantly being changed. Where if that's the case, everyone is going to be needed to test out their decks before they bring it into the ladder to see how it works. And then they'll make a card change. So they have to retest it again before you jump into ladder. The only way you're really going to test your deck is against the competitive people. If you want to climb ladder, you don't bring a deck into casual. You bring it into ladder. Be like, hey, this is what they're playing in ladder, right? So I want to test this deck out, see if it works. Bring it into ladder. If you have a deck that you're like, hey, I want to test it out against the competitive people, let's go into casual. You know where you're going to find the people who play casual? People who are also testing random decks. And if you eat a random deck with your random deck and like, oh, awesome, I think I'm ready for competitive. And then you go again and you actually get into competitive and all you do is face meta decks and lose against them and go, why? I was winning in casual. Why am I losing in ranked? It's because the decks in casual will not be the decks in ranked. Right now, build that player base. Build a stable game. Stop with the erratas. Stop with all these card changes. In my opinion, please highly consider change how you do your set rotations. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. There's no reason to start changing everything about card games as we know it. Build your player base. Make your game stable where it's not being changed. Card numbers not being changed. If there's a bug, fix the bug. There should be no bugs. Right? There should be no bugs. The more erratas you make, the more risks you have of making bugs. Clear the bugs out. Stop with the erratas and card changes and enumerations and all this stuff. Fix the way you're doing rotation. Work on getting new sets out. That's how this game is going to improve. That's how this game is going to improve. Competitive players, you mean forming teams, connecting with other community members, building a player base and make friends? What? OFC? This is blasphemy. Heresy, I say. Heresy. Anyone who's only playing casual needs to ask you about card balance. Like, I went into casual and there was a guy who built an OTK deck that killed me on turn 4. We need to balance this. You're in a casual format where every card is allowed. If you don't want that, go into ranked, where it's a limited card pool. But why not reinvent the wheel? The square wheel should work awesomely. You know, I was thinking about that. Because, a square wheel, you don't have to risk it rolling down hills, right? You can park it on a hill. It'll stay there just fine. There's no reason to put blocks under it. You're good to go. But the best thing about making a square wheel is that it's not going to go anywhere. So, think about that. You've made a square wheel. Why reinvent something that worked just fine when you're making something that doesn't move? New cards should always be available in advanced. Newer card. No, yeah, that's the thing. They also put out a new set, right? They put out a new set with new cards. Some of them aren't even allowed to be used. Some of them are in set like 2 and 3. I get that now that we're apparently still in beta. I thought we were out, but we're still in beta. They're still trying to adjust and make things and test things out. Here's my little tidbit. If you're going to test things out, test them with beta testers. Not a live community of players who, if you put out a change and you're waiting for a reaction, what if the reaction is bad and you lose your player base? What if you put something out and the player's like, I really don't like this? That's in your live game. And if players go, I really don't like that, I'm going to stop playing. Well, maybe you should have tested that on a beta test, gotten some feedback before you went live with it. You can't build a player base if you're using your player base as your beta testers. As your beta testers. You cannot build a player base if your player base is your beta testers. You need to build your player base. If the player base isn't big enough to have split queues, how's it big enough to have a decent beta test? Well, yeah, I mean, the beta testers, really, they should be beta testing this game for like several months, like while the game is being progressed and made. For finding bugs, B, for finding broken interactions. Just give it to Fatal Zeph, he'll find one in a day or two. To basically make sure that before the game even comes out, there's no bugs, all the numbers you feel comfortable with being, not broken, and all this stuff. Week 5 and 6, I was really hopeful. I felt the game was getting healthy. Felt people were enjoying the OLL content, and people could start getting advice from the OLL players like other games. Then week 8 hit and tanked everything. Yeah, exactly. They're like, people who actually played in the competitive scene. People were asking questions like, hey, what's a deck idea? Hey, can you tell me about this? And all that stuff. Because you're playing competitively, right? Think about this right now. For let's just say Hearthstone example, because that's a really popular card game, along with Magic the Gathering. If you want to get good at the game, you'll watch the players who are playing competitively on it, right? You'll see what their decisions on cards are, what their ideas on the cards, because they're playing a competitive base. If you don't have all the card pools, look at the competitive people, see what they're playing, get ideas from them. They know the cards probably better than you, right? So it's like, awesome. Talk to those people, watch those people play, learn from it. But then if you did that, right? If you did that, took their advice, got these cards, built their deck, 2 days later, several erratas. Well, now the player who was about ready to start playing, who felt confident in their cards, was ready to start playing. All of a sudden you changed it. Now they don't trust their deck anymore. So they're going to go back to that competitive player and watch them get more information, try and relearn what they're doing and try and rebuild that. Then another set of erratas. I'm like, well, how can I feel confident about these if I'm trying to learn? It's a whole cycle. It's a whole cycle. You need a stable game. No more erratas. Let the game be as is. If people are complaining about it, let them complain. Let them complain. You have the numbers. You have the numbers. There's no reason that cards should be errated just to mix like, oh, there's like 1 or 2 numbers there, whatever. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. Let the good cards stand. Not every card is going to be like, hey, why aren't you using this card over this card? Yeah, maybe in some formats, some archetypes, you'll want to switch out cards. But guess what? There's always going to be one card that's really good that you're going to want to include. Spectral Widow is a fine example. It's 6 damage that, over the course of time was unpreventable. Here's my thing. You want to know why Spectral Widow is probably so good? It's a poison buff. For all we know, someone's going to realize that and be like, wow, Spectral Widow should be just a death buff. It should be a death buff. That way you can't bring it back with all the poison stuff and it can't get all the interactions with the poison buffs. We'll just make it a death buff. That changes the card entirely. That means it goes not in several of the decks. Why would you do that? Like, you need to make your game stable. Stability builds a player base. Larger player base means more people will be invested in the game, be able to play competitively, have your queues shorter, people will talk about your game because it's stable. We will learn from it. You cannot absorb knowledge. You cannot absorb knowledge and learn how to play this game properly if the game is constantly in flux. So, stabilize the game, make it stable, no more changes, only new cards, build your player base. And please, I don't want to say I'm begging, I'm highly suggesting re-looking at how you're doing set rotations. Re-look at that. Because, in my strong opinion, if you're trying to build a player base, and every 2 months you're cycling out old cards that came out 2 years ago to make the game fresh for the players who already have those cards, the newer players are never going to be able to invest and keep up with the people who have been playing this game for 2 years. So, if they can't keep up with the people who've already been playing it, they're not going to invest time to keep playing it. And you will not grow a player base. You will not be able to grow a player base and get new players in if you do not allow for the new players to, when a new set comes out, start at least 50% of the way as the old players and allow them time to catch up. Give them a chance to jump in and catch up with the old players and be good and build a player base. Build a player base that way. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. So that's my 2 cents. So I do apologize for all the people that come here specifically for Lightseekers content. But I will probably not be playing it on stream anymore because the game is so much in flux. It needs to be stable for me. I'm getting to the point where I can't sit any longer in 5-minute queues on a stream. I can't do it. I'll do it on my couch when I want to play casual, whatever. Fine, that's fine. I'll sit there and wait while I'm watching TV. I cannot have so many cards be errated, bugged, all that stuff. I can't invest money in a game that is not stable. I can't do it. I'm not financially able to do that. I can't do it. So, for the future, there are many other games out there that I can play. that I'm going to be playing. Right now, I'll still be, talking about Lightseekers. I'll still keep up with it for, the updates and all this stuff like that. But I will probably not be streaming Lightseekers, which I know is really sad because I think I'm legitimately the only one who streams it. But I see several other people making like small YouTube clips. TS puts things on Twitter of little vines that he makes from his wins that he's been doing. I think, was it S-Darbs or someone else? They were streaming it for a little bit too. Your meme claws deck? Yeah, that was awesome, man. But yeah, I will not be streaming the game anymore until a lot of things happen, until I can, with full confidence in myself, come back to the game knowing that there's stability there, knowing that there's no longer 5-minute queues, the player base is grown. And first and foremost, I am a draft player. I enjoy drafting because the game is always different with the cards being stable. I'm not a fan of ranked. I'll play a ranked every once in a while to get some gold, try new deck ideas when new cards come out. But otherwise, to me at least, after a while, ranked becomes very repetitive in a sense where the meta will settle, come out with the top 5 to 10 decks. Everyone's just playing those. To climb ladder, it's really just a grind at that point. When a new set comes out, that's when the game is in its good game of flux. When people are testing out new deck ideas, that's when I like to come in. Otherwise, I like to go in a draft and play those where every game feels different because you're not sure what the opponent has built in their deck. And right now, the drafting rewards, I've talked about them, they don't feel good. And that goes back to the economy of the game. Give us more to do with our gold. A lot of it has to do with gems. Give us more to do with our gold. Help us earn gold in a lot more ways, especially since they cut down how much you can get from your physical cards. So the people who have invested in the physical game are kind of losing out 50% more than they did at the beginning of the game. So give us more gold, allow us to do more things with our gold, really build the economy of the game to make it feel like you're earning something. Because right now it feels like you want to earn gems more than you want to earn gold, and the only proper way to earn gems is with money, and that feels like a cash grab. So allow people to play this game, put the time and effort in to play it free to play with the gold, but if you want to jump ahead, then go ahead and put down a credit card or something like that. So that's what I have to say about the game. I hope everyone understands where I'm coming from. I hope everyone understands why I'm taking a step away from streaming it. I need to let the game stabilize before I come back and I start putting my public face on it again. Because right now, it's just a lot of these things have made me... the build-up has made me a little unsatisfied with how the game is progressing. That until all this happens, until it feels like it's out of the beta phase, I need stability. I need confidence in a game before I stream it and play it publicly for people. So I hope everyone understands why I'm taking a step away. But like I said, there's several other games out there that I do want to play, that I do want to stream for you guys. Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering Arena. I really hope that actually comes to a tablet. I heard it's coming to a tablet and phone and stuff like that early next year, so I can play it on my couch and build a card base, because right now I think I've played it maybe for like an accumulative 2 hours. I've seen a lot of people play it, and I love Magic the Gathering, but I just don't have that much time invested. I've been loving Eternal right now. Eternal really feels good and fluid to me, so I've been playing that on my phone every day. There was the new, what was it, Mythgard and Skyweaver are new card games that have been in the beta test right now that people have been playing. Those seem pretty fun to do. So like, there's a lot of other card games out there that Lightseekers has to compete with, and it's just the stability is not there for it to compete with these other games. So that might sort of going to take a lot for me to come back. I usually stick with things for long, and when I'm done, I'm done. Yeah, I mean, it's feeling like we've invested so much time into this thing that's the only reason we're still around, is because we've invested so much time into it that it feels bad to step away and lose that entire investment. Which is why I'm not stepping away. I'm just stepping out of the forefront. I'm stepping out of the forefront, stepping back, and just kind of I'm taking a bench seat, waiting for the game to stabilize. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, then I'm still kind of here, and I'll give it another shot. But I can't keep trying to talk about this when all I'm doing is talking about how it needs to change. It's going to have to get to at least Eternal level, Lightseekers. That's a huge advantageous push there, Mud. Because the thing about Eternal that really got me excited is Eternal was made by people who made Magic the Gathering. So, like, they know card games. That's why I stuck with Eternal, because I'm like, this game is actually made by people who know how to make card games. And a lot of their mechanics are working really cool. So I was okay investing into Eternal. And I really like the UI, the user interface. They did a lot of things for Twitch streamer support like that. For you, yeah. I mean, same here. I mean, it's just like, well, that's another thing. I also, if the game is going to be stabilize the game, change the UI as well. The UI is great for tablets, stuff like that. But if you're actually going to make it and build your player base via streamers, they need to fix the UI. They need to make it online friendly. If they want people, the best way to build a player base and to get the game out, streamers. Have people watch the game, like me. In order to do that, make it so when you play on the computer and you stream, they have it built for streamers and have the UI look a lot cleaner and friendlier so that you can have all the stuff like deck lists and the camera and all that stuff where it's not taking up board space. Make a spectator mode so you can actually host tournaments. Like, there's so many things you can do that you need to do to help the game improve. And they can't do any of that if they're spending a majority of their time fixing bugs and making unnecessary erratas. They can't improve the game if they're trying to, quote unquote, fix the game. Can't do it. I'd rather watch a escape game on a playmat rather than a linear that we have. That's true. That's true. And also part of it is because you can't see the whole board at one time. If you can't see the whole board at one time, you can only see 4 cards at a time on the other person's side. And if they have like 8 buffs out, you have to hopefully scroll and not misclick on stuff. It's just, it's a hassle. It's a hassle. You need to be able to see the entire board at one time to know what your player is doing. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. So, before I just continue ranting and saying the same stuff, that's really what I wanted to put out this morning before we jump into other things. I will, people were asking me to give kind of like a last hurrah to Lightseekers, and I'll do that. I'll play a few games. Hopefully we can get into them. I don't know. If the queue is longer than, I'd say 2 minutes, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to sit here for 2 minutes. And I don't want you guys to jump into the queue to make the queues. I don't want to do that. I actually want to play other people. You know what I'm saying? Hearthstone's interaction UI is nice when playing those players that take forever. No, yeah, the Hearthstone's UI is great. Eternal's UI is amazing. Magic the Gathering Arena's UI is insanely good. Like, it's really intuitive. That this game still feels like, hey, it was made for the phone. It was made for the phone. Because they even said that the game app, was meant to be for the physical side for you to just store your card base and scan them in and look through your collections and kind of just build a deck and see what you wanted to do. Now it's an actual game, but it's like made for the phone. I'm jumping in. LOL, deleted the game. Yeah. So, I'm going to take a quick break here. We'll jump in we'll play some Lightseekers. Fatal Zeph, if he's here, he did want me to play a game with his deck. I'm probably just going to talk about it. But his idea for, I think it was Brox, that Dread hero that you can't remove the buffs, you take 5 health. He made a deck and showed it to me, and I was like, that's really intuitive. I never even thought about that. That I wanted to talk about his. I do want to see if I can get a game with Farapang in. But, like, outside of that, I'm probably just going to play Hearthstone today. I have some quests for Hearthstone. The Battlegrounds, they just got improved with 4 new heroes. Got some card changes in that are looking pretty interesting as well. But we'll probably just play Hearthstone today. Or Eternal, whatever you guys want to see. I'm open to playing some card games that you guys are interested in me playing. But Instant Scoop. Oh yeah, there's some OLL games too that people wanted me to do. So I'll probably do the OLL games first, then go into Lightseekers from one last hurrah. Then after that, we'll jump into a different card game. So that will be today's plan for the next 5 hours. So give me a quick break, guys. I'm gonna go grab like a granola bar or something like that, and we'll be right back to play some games, have some fun this afternoon, and kind of give our personal send off to Lightseekers, let it do its own thing, and maybe we'll come back in the future. I hope so, because I don't want to completely dive out on this game, but I can't move forward to the game that's not moving forward, if that makes any sense. So I'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.